Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to make a fun pair of earrings that are going to, well, let's take this one off. We're going to use this same style of wire work that I have in this earring. However, the bead colors will be different, so it's going to be a little different, but pretty much like this particular earring. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some of our Jesse James beads, namely some from the Aurora Borealis bead mix and some from the Dark Academia. So let's turn down and we will go over stuff and we'll see what we're going to do. Okay, as I said, we're going to use some of the beads from Aurora Borealis and some from Dark Academia. And this is our beads that we're going to use. These black ones here are from Dark Academia. And these small little teardrops, the blue, pretty blue, and the tiny little crystal rondelles are from the Aurora Borealis. And then, of course, I have some spacers from my own stash. We've got some bead wires, or ear wires, I should say. We have some, we have some ball head pins. A lot of these are a little crooked. We'll have to straighten them. We have some small and larger oval jump rings. These are 6s and 8s. And then we have some 18 gauge wire. And this is what we're going to use to make our our wire work for our earrings. So let's get things put away that we aren't going to need and get started on that. So we don't need our bead mixes. We already have them out. So we're going to put those away. Laid the one of the earrings that we're going to be using as sort of a pattern down right here beside me. And we need approximately 2.5 to 3 inches for this little inner bar. As you can see, it's a separate bar from the circles down below. And so we're going to be making this piece, and put all of it together after making the droplets. So let's get 2 pieces of 3-inch to make the 2 for these. So we will straighten this up some, get our 3 inches. Number 1. And for the second one, rather than just putting it on and the ruler, I'm just going to straighten this out some and then put this wire beside it. And then clip it right at the base of where that wire ends at. So there are those 2. Now this part is really, really simple for making this upper loop. All we have to do is take our mandrel, or bell making pliers, I should say, and put the loops on either side, here and here, and then we have to make a circle of it, which we're going to use a wire mandrel for that. Gotten my mandrel out. This is a beadle-on mandrel, and they come with 2 sizes, or you can use a stepped. I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to use the smaller side to make these loops. So just take hold of it and give it a twist around until it meets the other side, just like that. Same with the other side, making sure that they're going in the same direction. Now we have this portion of it made. We'll do it with this one as well. Now, one thing I like to do is make sure that they are approximately the same size. We want these to be comparable. And if we need to trim any, now is the time. So let's just I think this one's got a little more curve than the other one, so it doesn't want to measure out quite. Okay, they're looking pretty good, see? Now the next thing we want to do with these bars is to get our wire mandrel, and then we will wrap it around to make this little circular piece here. So this is the wire mandrel. We're going to use the circular one. And I think we're probably going to want this one, if I recall, right? Let's find out. We can just slip this piece right onto here. Now, as you can see, that actually is the one right above it, so it's probably a good thing I checked that. So now this earring will flop around because it's put together with jump rings, of course. So it's got a lot of movement to it. So what we want to do is put this in the middle and bring it around in a loop. This one is wanting to flatten out a little bit on this side, which we don't want it to do. So we will, as you can see, it didn't go round right there for me. So we're going to have to get that eased up, because we do want it to be round. There we go. It's pretty well put together there. Now we will do the other one. Make sure that we're using the same one here, though. So it was this one right here. So we will pull this off, and we will wrap this one around. Trying not to let it go out of whack like I did that first one. So. Okay, as you can see, this one is much rounder, much nicer shape than the other one. So we will probably work on the other one just a little bit, see if I can get it to round out just a bit. But as you can see, they look pretty good together. Okay, so these two pieces are going to go in here on our earring, and as you can see, these look to be a little bigger than this one is. Now, if we want it to stay bigger, that's fine, or if we want to make it smaller, what we do in that case is we take our clippers and we clip just a teeny touch off of either side, so like this. And we'll do it with the other one as well. So what I'm doing is just resting my flush cutters right on the bottom bar and cutting that little bit out of this, the top, so that they are consistent with the amount I took off. Then you'll just put your bell making pliers back inside and bring another little bit of loop around. And as you can see, I still kept them to be pretty much the same size. Now, if you've got them about the size you want, these are still a touch bigger than my other one, but we're going to leave it be. Maybe we won't. I don't want it to be too much bigger because once we got our spirals done around here, we don't want it to be, well, we'll wait. We'll wait. If they end up hitting here, we will cut just a teeny touch more off. If they don't hit, then it's not an issue whatsoever. So when we do this one, these are a little bit more tricky because we've got lots of loops in here. So what I'm going to do is work from off my spool of wire. And what we want to do is the first one is going to be the bigger of these two. So we'll do this loop here and bring it around till it bumps into the other wires, like so. And then we're going to take our next set of, our bigger set of bell making pliers, and we're going to want this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this all the way around till we have another loop like this. Then we're going to do this 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how I'm just putting the plier right beside the wire and just twisting it all the way around? And then 4. So there's our 4. As you can see, the 1 for the smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we want this big one. So we're going to go with the big, change loops, put this big one right here, and do the same thing. Just wrap it all the way around. And there's the big one. Now we want 4 more small of the mediums and 1 more small. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. One, 2, 3, 4. Now we want to go back to that smaller one. And 5. And here's where we trim our wire. Trim it right there where it comes together. And we have the one side formed. Now this last loop, we're going to probably have to form it a little better because it was the end. So go into here, butt up to this base wire and trim any little extra off you won't need to trim off. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to form this, and as we form it, it's going to spread out some, as this is here. So let's just go on the base, and we'll want the big one right here, and we'll form these around. And this is going to spread out some, and we do need to hammer this some. As you can see, I have one side turned around a little more than the other side, so we'll work on that. When you hammer it, it's going to get a little bigger because it's going to want to spread between the loops. So, and that's actually what we want it to do. So So let's just work it until you get some spread in between those. You don't want a lot, but you do want some. Now, if you notice that your circles have become a little misshapen, you can always put your mandrel back in, or your bell making plier back in, and loop it around some to fix that. Like, see this last one? It still isn't in a good shape that I like it. So we will fix it by pulling and turning some. There we go. And then in doing that, I pulled this one's shape out. So let's go back over to the others. And shape them a little better. And this one is probably going to need spread some because it really looks like it shrunk up. So let's fix that. Okay. And you just have to work it and manipulate it until you get it about where you want these little circles to sit. See how it compares to my already made one. You see I've got it pretty well where that is. So let's tap it some more and get it nice and hardened. So there we go with this first one. And then this little loop will, just don't lose it, sit on here like so, with the beads in the center of it. Now I don't think it's going to hit, so I think it's probably all right. So now we need to make our second one of these. Now I couldn't tell you how much wire I used since I do these off the spool. I can tell you it's probably quite a bit because we do have to make all these loops. So let's get the spool out and we'll do the next one. Here we go. And of course the first one is our small one. Well, smaller, it's not the smallest, but the smaller pliers. I thought that was getting a little close there, so we'll get, okay. And trim it right, push you down. Trim it right here where it comes together. And we can put our wire aside. And now we want to start our forming this to conform the shape we want it to be in, which is this shape here. So twist, twist. Start forming, form, bring it up, twist it open a little bit. How you just have to just manipulate it with your fingers till you get it in the shape you want it. And once you get it close to there, let's see how it fits with the other one. It looks like it's pretty close, doesn't it? And that's great. So, can't remember which one I was just forming. I think it's this one. So now let's get the hammer and the block out, and we will tap this down until it's now you see that's going over there. We're going to have to fix that by pulling it this way just a hair's breadth. But now it has gone back down, so we're going to want to pull it up and pull it up and form it some more. Now this one looks like it went out of round right here, so we will, and then we can get the mandrel out if we're really worried about it, to see how well she's doing here. As you can see, she's pretty rounded there. Now let's see if we're back still on track here. And as you can see, no, I've got it way out of track. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bring this up some more. Still needs to be brought up more. Looks to be up close to the top on this one, where it needs some maneuvering. This one needs to come out some, as does this. Okay, let's see now. It's much better, but it's still a tiny touch off, as you can see. Oops, wants to come up just a hair's breadth. Okay, this one needs to turn just a little bit. It looks like she's opening right there. We don't want that. So just turn her back into place. Okay, let's compare again. They're looking pretty good. They're not perfect, but they never will be because they're handmade. They're not something as machine made that you can just expect to have just go plop and be right where it was should be. Okay, so our next step is we can either put the top together and then these pieces here, or we can start doing the dangles. What I am going to do is we're going to put the top pieces together, and since, well, no, this dangle is not on a hook, so we're not going to do that. We'll put that dangle together first, and then we'll put the base together and then put the lower dangles on. So the top dangle, what we're going to make with it is this little bead right here, one of these tiny spacers, and one of this little guy. So there's our dangle. So let's get out the pieces to make both. There it is. And we will get those made. Now, this little piece has got a really big sharp bend right here, so I'm going to take my pliers and straighten that out some, which I only do when they're bad like that. So then we'll have this little guy here, this spacer here, and this tiny one here. And then that dangle will dangle right in the middle, right here. So we will get 2 of these ready to go. Now, if your dangle's small enough and you want to, you can put these on a jump ring up there. I would advise a small jump ring, but you can do that. But sometimes you make your dangle and you realize, ugh, it's going to hit the wire. So that's, I think, what this happened with this one. See how close it is? So I decided to not jump ring that particular dangle. But so let's get these made. So we've got the beads on. Take our wire, our pliers, bend it over. Now this is where I use my stepped bell making plier. I use the smallest one. I go in here, wrap it around, drop it down, bring it around, check to make sure it is in the shape I want it to be, and then we wrap. Now, if you use your round nose pliers to do your wraps, that's perfectly fine. I just like these because it makes a nice consistent loop, and they're all going to be the same, more or less, unless you really make a crappy wrap, which I have done before. I try to not, but... And actually, I've had people say, oh, your wraps are so perfect. Well, that's because if I really don't like them, I tear them apart. I am a bit of a perfectionist, I'm afraid. I wouldn't say I am a perfectionist because, hey, I let things go. But my wraps, I really hate it when they don't look good. So, round, bring you down, check your shape, and wrap. Now you can wrap with your pliers or your fingers. It depends on the wire whether I'm wrapping with my fingers or my pliers, because sometimes one works better than the other. Let's bring this all the way over here. Cut the excess, being careful not to cut anything extra, like your loop. I have done that. It's not fun. Come on. There we go. Oop. Knocking too tools around over there. So I need to put some of them away. So here's my second little loop. And I'm going to put some stuff away I don't need anymore, like my hammer and my wire mandrel, so they're out of my way. We will need this again. So now what we want to do is take our 2 pair of our chain nose pliers, and we're going to put these together, this little bit together here. So what we need is the 3 big ones. And how this is going to work is we're going to take and put these 2 together right now by looping through one of these and then the same side of this one. And then we'll close this up. Now we'll do the same with the other side. Come on. You want to make sure you put them in the same direction. Otherwise you'll have a twisted mess. That's number 2. And lastly, we're going to put everything else on with number 3, the dangle, the ear wire, and these all. So we'll grab our last jump ring here, open it up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to let them hang down some, because you want to make sure they're hanging in the direction that they would be hanging when you're putting them on, or they will end up being all twisted when you're done here. Last thing is the ear wire, and then we will put it closed. Right, there we go. And now when you hold it up, as you can see, our 2 pieces are together with our dangle in the middle. So let's get the other one put together. Now you could quit right here if you wanted to. You don't need to put the other dangles on. This is a good stopping point if you want to, but I like the extra dangles down below. Though I do have a pair that are like this that I just did just this portion. Now these are oval jump rings. I prefer an oval jump ring because the split is on the side, and that way when the when there's gravity pulling, the split stays right here. Right here. And that way your items, your other pieces are sort of, the gravity pulls that slit to the middle rather than the top or the bottom, and you don't have to worry so much about anything falling out of your jump ring. Just like any jump ring, you want to open it with a twisting motion. Come on, babies. There. Now I will tell you, if you get the jump ring on backwards, you know, if you loop through here and you've gotten the opposite place of where you should have, when you lift it, it's going to be all twisted up. So be careful when you put them together that you've got all of your pieces going in the proper direction. Okay. And there is number 2. And now our next step is to put our other dangles together so that they can go across the bottom. They'll go here. As you can see, we will put them, let's get our little jumpers out of the way. We will put them in the very base and then the two up from the base. So it'll be here, here, and here. So let's get those made so we can hook them on. And we have I think I kept out these like this. We'll have the big one here, bigger jump ring. This isn't a jump ring, sorry, it's a spacer. And then make sure I get the right top piece here. Doesn't matter, they're all the same. So then this will be our middle dangle, which will go right here. Then we will do 2 smaller dangles, of which it's this piece. No, that's not how I wanted to do it. Sorry, excuse me. I'm going to do the tiny piece here first. Then a spacer. Blue one. Spacer. Oop. Didn't need that one right yet. And the teardrop. So then those will go here on the sides like so. So that's what this will look like. So let's twist these up and put them on, and then we'll finish up the other one in the exact same way. So bend, get the bell making plier and the smallest loop, go around, drop it down, make sure you're in the right shape, and then wrap. When your wraps are done, then clip it. And tuck it. Now you want to be careful when you're tucking your beads because they are glass and you don't want to break them. So we'll do all 3 of these, put it together, and this earring will be done, and then we'll just finish up the second earring in the same manner. I got that one a little loose, so tighten it up a little bit with my thumbnail. Go. And number 3. Bend, pliers in, be it your bell making or your round nose. Drop it, bring it around, make sure the shape on the top is right, and then wrap. Cut the excess off, and then tuck it in. Now, as you can see, this one is a little bit off. See how it's not quite to the center? If that happens, take your pliers and just give it a little twist and see how much better that one is. It's still a little off, but not bad. And if it looks like it's going to wonk out its shape when it's doing that, use your bell making pliers when you make your little twist. Now see how much better that is? So now we just need to get our jump rings and put this burst earring together. So we want 3 of the little tiny jump rings. I've got more than I need here. And we will open those up. Just put them through the loop. Grab one of these, doesn't matter which one, they're the same. And just start putting on our dangles. Now, if that doesn't close quite right, just give it a tiny little squeeze, just like I just did. There's number 1 dangle on this one, the long one. And then we'll put the 2 small ones on. And that goes on this loop right here. And then the last one goes on the other side, right in more or less the same place. And of course, since there's all those loops, you could put on some more dangles if you wished to. I just like the 3. I think it looks good with that many. And there is the first one done. Wait. You think those pretty? So the next thing we need to do is to put together the second bunch of dangles and put them on. I'll take my earring out of the way and I'll put it on, give myself a little more room here. And we'll pull this up into place and do the other 3. Now, as you can see, there is a little bit more room, I think. Let's see. Well, once you get them all up there, there isn't a lot of extra dangle room. So it's up to you whether you wanted to have it a little dangle a little further down or not. I think it's fine where it's at. But let's get those other 3 dangles done so we can put this other earring, to finish putting this other earring together. So let's see if we can straighten that wire out a little. That's much better. Unfortunately, in traveling, your beads tend to get a little bit, your wires tend to get a little bit messed up sometimes. Let's just dump this out, shall we? So we got the little tiny guy here, this guy, the bigger guy, and one of these. Bend it over. Get out your pliers. Oh, that's the wrong ones. Get your there. Twist it around. Let it drop. Bring her down. and then wrap. And I can already tell this one is a little bit going to one side. I will have to fix that. You see how I let that happen? So put that back in there and just roll it some, like there. Now we need to clip our extra wire and tuck it in. That's ready to attach. Another one of those crooked wires. Now she's in. Now we just need to put it together. So we get our, looks like I had some extra jump rings out, and that's fine. So let's get our pliers and put these together. And it doesn't really matter which one we put on first, so we'll just put this side one here on. Tighten her up. There we go. Now, because of all these twists and things in here, you can get these a little twisted up. But if that happens, just follow the pattern of the wire and untwist them. It's not that big of a deal. This is the last one. And now we're done. Let's hold these up. Now see what I'm saying, how you can twist these up? Make sure you get them the right way when you pull them up. There we go. There is number 2. So earring number 1, earring number 2. Aren't those pretty? I hope you enjoyed these, and these other 2 little jump rings put away before I lose them, since they're so tiny. And there are our earrings. I hope you enjoyed making those. As you can see, they're very pretty, look pretty intricate, but they really, I don't feel anyway, are that difficult to make. So I hope you enjoyed these, and let's turn up and we'll talk a little more. Okie dokie, here is our earring. As you can see, pretty much matches the ones I'm wearing, other than the colors. Here's the second. So there's the pair. Lots of movement in these, and very pretty. And I hope you've enjoyed making those. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.